Hello, today I'm going to try something new. I'm going to try showing you a drawing on my iPad. So I'm working in a program called Procreate. So this is my piece of paper. You can work on regular paper, just with marker. That will be absolutely fine. And I'm using my Apple Pencil. And the thing we're going to do today is we've made this onion shape before, but if you haven't made it with me before, that's fine. But what I'm going to be able to do here is zoom in and show you tiny parts, but bigger. So the first thing I want to do on this one is I'm going to find about the middle, and I'm just going to do a wavy line. So there's my wavy line. And on this wavy line, we're going to make a lot of our little friendly onion shapes. So what I'm going to do is zoom in and show you how I do that. So I'm going to come off, I'm in my eraser. I'm going to come off of this side and kind of come out. There's one onion. And it goes off the top of the page, you can see. And then this next one is going to come down. And there it goes. So it's going to attach there. And this next one is going to start here at the peak of this one and come down. So we're making all of these little shapes that are kind of like an onion. And we can make as many or as few as we want. The thing that's fun about this shape is it doesn't matter if it's super symmetrical. We can just keep making them off of each other because we keep making this shape on the side that's like our onion. And some of them are going to be skinnier. Some of them are going to be fatter, but that's okay. There's always room for another one. The good thing about the iPad is I can very simply erase. All right, so I'm going to go up and out and back up. So there's another onion, and we can sort of just keep making this shape across the page. So I can, I'm in my eraser again. I will come down and out and meet this one at the bottom there. And I'll keep doing that across the page however much I want to. And I'll just keep having these little onion shapes. It's kind of like Moroccan tile, I guess. Over here it's getting a little dicey because this area is kind of funky. So I'm just going to go with it. Just going to try to make something that sort of looks like the onion that we're drawing. Same over here. So I'm going to come out and up. And then I'm going to come out and down. And start there and come down and balloon out. And you know what? I think this one's just going to have its own little space. And then this one can be sort of funky. Whoops, my glasses fell off my desk. So there we go. And there we go. And this one would come back up and meet here. And then this one would go off and come back and meet here. And so on and so forth. And what I like about Procreate is if I want to bring this over to this side and work on it or flip it around, I can. It's going to be easy for me to work on this flipped around. So down and around and back. You can see I'm just making this this little onion shape wherever I can. So this one would go out and it might come back down here and there. So my original direction was this. So you see how we can kind of keep making that onion shape. What we're going to do inside of each of these, I'll make it really nice and big so you can see, is split them in half. So we're going to start at this peak and we're going to go down to that peak. So now we've split it in two. then we can split each of those in two. And what you'll notice that I'm doing is I'm kind of staying halfway between the lines of this particular little onion that I've already put down. So now I've split the first two into 4, and then I can go and split each of those. And I'm staying at all times kind of halfway between the lines that are on either side. So my lines are curvy because the lines on either side are curvy. And then anywhere you feel like you might want to put another one in there, you can. I just try to make sure that they're all kind of curvy. That makes it look nicer at the end. All right, so you can see that I've done this to one shape. So now we're going to do it to the rest of the shapes. I'm going to work in the same color. I feel like putting a few more lines in here. What do you think? I'm going to work in the same color on my whole page. I'm going to only work in black, but you could always see what it looks like if you work in different colors. And what I want you to notice is at the beginning and the end of each of these lines, we're going to overlap a little bit. And that's going to start making this really interesting feeling of depth. And I find this to be an incredibly relaxing thing to do just when I have some time. I want my brain to do a little something, but I don't really want to draw anything specific. And down here at the end, I might want this to be a little darker, so I'm going to go darken this a tiny bit. There we go. So there's one, and we're going to do that to all of the rest of these shapes, and it's going to make a very interesting pattern. So now I'll go to this one, and I'm going to make this central line just a little bit curvy. But I'm kind of just following the contours that are on either side. I'm going down and around. And I'm just putting lines where I think I might want some lines. It really starts being a matter of how many lines you want to draw. I enjoy the practice of trying to stay between my lines that are already there. That's kind of fun to me. I like to pretend there's a magnet on either side of this line that's pulling my pencil. And my pencil wants to stay right in the very center. Like, whoa. And sometimes I go off course, but I don't think that really matters in my final drawing. I think it's still going to be rather nice. So you can put as many or as few lines as you want, but you can see it's kind of starting to look fun. And I think it looks like a lot of onions. Other people say it looks like yarn or hair, things like that. But it's abstract, so it can look like whatever you want it to look like. No one else can really tell you what you find in your imagination. So whether you're joining me today to draw, or you're joining me today just to watch these fun little lines, I'm very glad you're here. When we engage in art, when we're using our hand and our eyes, when we're thinking about what's next, each of those little decisions we make, each of those little creative decisions is kind of strengthening our brain. It's like when you play word games or math games. Art can do that very same thing. Called creative problem solving. And even though it's not a huge problem you're solving, you're still solving a great deal of little tiny problems when you do art. So it's a nice exercise for your brain. and a good way to just chill out for a little while. And you don't have to have an iPad to do this. You don't have to have a tablet. You can just do this on regular paper with a marker. You can do it with a pencil or a pen. That's okay too. I just find that with this, the thicker lines kind of end up giving us a more impressive final product. So let's see. All right, this one is kind of special, right? Because I made it a little bit weird. So it's gonna have this funky jaggle off to the side, whatever we want to call that. And some of you may have hands that are a little bit shaky. You may not be able to make your lines really fluid, but I think that just makes your end product turn out to be more interesting, because what ends up happening is all your lines are kind of the same degree of shakiness. And so it looks, almost ends up looking intentional, like you meant to do it that way. And it kind of makes your art look different than other people's. All right, what am I gonna do? This is a big creative problem-solving problem here. Okay, I think I did it. I think I fixed the problem. Now I'm just gonna put a couple of extra lines. And let's see, I'll come down. Sometimes it's hard to tell up in that jumble of lines that we started. Like if I want to work in this section, I can't really exactly tell where it starts up here because there are a lot of lines jumbled together. So I'm going to start at the other end, and that's how I'm going to solve that problem. Ah, that one got really wonky. Let's try that again. It's fun on the iPad. You can just tap 2 fingers in this app, and your last line goes away. So you can see how it's starting to look like a lot of these little onions together. So I'm going to work on this one now. I'm just coming down from the top, joining it at the bottom, and then separating these ones. And then I'll separate the other ones. Whee! I love making curvy lines. I prefer them to straight lines. I don't know about you. You might like straight lines. Some people like making patterns out of straight lines, and there are certainly a lot of different ways to do that. So if you enjoy straight lines more, you could always look for some other ways to do that. But for now, I'm going to do my curvy little onion shapes and all the curvy lines that make them have this look that they are very, very round. Whoops, very rotund. So I'm just working across my page, adding more lines to the things that are already here. And I'm starting at that peak, coming down to the end. This one is very wide, so as I split this in half, I'm going to have a very wide split like that. And same over on this side. This is going to be a nice wide split. So then each of these will come out a little bit further. And these will be a very, very wide line. That's kind of fun to do. All right, and this one's going to be nice and wide because that's the edge. And let's see, let's come out and stick one right there. You can see these are getting where they're not incredibly straight. This is a really big one, and it's not as easy to stay between those lines, is it? That's all right. I'm gonna just do what I can with my hands and my eyes. And I'm going to let that be fun in my art practice today. I'm hoping that you're finding this repetitive pattern making as relaxing as I do. Oh, I feel like I need one more over here. It's going to be a challenge. But I did it. All right. So here's what we look like so far. And you can see, because this one was larger, it doesn't have that nice convergence like some of them do, but I can come in here and I can add a little shade. We can just add a little bit. All of our other ones will have that. All right, so here we go. Let's work on, I'll work on this one next. So I'm gonna come down, it's gonna be a little bit wavy, that's fun. And then this one's gonna bow out. And this one will bow out. I'm finding that I'm squeezing my pencil very, very hard. I'm gonna try to relax my hand a bit because I don't know that that's gonna be, I don't know that that's what I need to do. I need to maybe relax my hand a little bit for these loopy, swoopy lines. And then maybe I'll be a little more successful. Loopy, swoopy. I guess these aren't loopy, they're only swoopy. Sometimes it can be hard to remember where one onion ends and the next one begins, as all of our pattern comes together and we start having all these little converging joint lines. All right, I feel like I need one more there in the middle. Something weird happened here, so I'm just gonna add a line because I can. It's my drawing and I'm the artist. Ha 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 ha. All right, let's go over in this corner. These are quite lackluster. I was getting really funky with the shapes over here. But I think in the end, that's not gonna matter. It's funny, I feel like I need to hold my paper down with this hand, but I really don't. Some people think that digital drawing is easier because they think somehow that the program is doing the work for you. But as you can see, it is not doing that for me. This is kind of a freehand exercise. So these are all my lines. This isn't something that the program is doing for me, or the app. And if I did not mention before, the app that I'm using is called Procreate. And I think it's just a one-time purchase. And I really like this app for drawing on a tablet. I've used it for a couple of years now and quite enjoyable. So I'm just going to continue making all of these little lines. If you're getting tired, if you're getting fatigued, you can stop and you can just pick up later and finish this. That's the beauty of the designs like this. It's always easy to know where you can just leave off and you'll be able to pick up when you come back. Like if I stopped now, I would know. All right, I'm gonna go on one of these outer shapes and I'm gonna start adding my lines. Like this one. Some of these drawings, like especially the Zentangles, when you're doing all of the triangles that have to go in a certain direction, those are confusing because you look away and you can forget where your where your lines stopped off. These aren't like that. You can tell all the time where your next line should go. And if you just put in a few lines at the beginning, but you decide at the end, I want a lot more lines, you can always go in and add them. So this is a nice thing to just take small breaks in your day. Just keep it on your desk or in your notebook or whatever you work with throughout the day. And when you need to take a little brain break, you can do it. Maybe you just work on it for like 10 or 20 minutes each evening, just as a little way to allow your brain a creative time. That is absolutely fine. I keep trying to move my paper, but I don't need to because it's on a screen. Okay, this one I just have half of. So again, I'm going to pretend the whole thing is there, and I'm going to go ahead and put in my little lines. And these go downward, and I don't have to worry about where I end, so I can go really fast. That's kind of fun. Whew. If you're working in marker and you need to go off your paper, just stick another piece of paper under there so you don't get marker on your desk or whatever you're writing on, if that's important. If it's your messy space and you enjoy getting it messy, then by all means, do that. My desk is pretty messy. It's my art desk, and I just like having all my stuff out. Some people don't. Some people like to be very organized with their art supplies and their pencils and their markers and their paints. I just like having kind of an art zoo, maybe a free range art pasture where all of my art supplies are easily accessible. I've generally not been amazing at organization of stuff like that, but I have my ways. I know where everything is. All right. And you can see as I'm moving on, my lines are getting a little close together. That happens sometimes, and it's just fine. Let's move over here. This one is very oddly shaped, so it's going to be kind of curving this way, which is a little confusing, but I think I'm going to be able to use my creative problem solving skills and really work it out. Oh, I have to go over here too. All right. This one is not my favorite onion of the whole piece, but that's okay. They can't all be my favorite. All right, let me see how close I can get over here. Woo! Did it. All right, so now I'm just going to put in a couple of extra lines here and there. And make them all following that same contour. This is going to be a challenge. But I did it. All right, I need one more line here. This is kind of it's a really funky edge right here. I'm going to see if I can do something to save it. Kind of make it more. Maybe I just need one more line. All right. Like I said, that one is not my favorite onion. I'm just going to leave it, go away from it. So at the edges here, I'm just going to continue this so it's just more fluid. All right, let's work on this onion. Woo! It's gonna swing out. Big swingy bulbous onion. It's very rotund. All right. So now I can start putting my in-between lines in here. And this one's gonna bow out and come back down. And maybe I need a big one over here. I do. This one's fun. And you'll notice sometimes I go from top to bottom and sometimes I go from bottom to top. Whatever you want to do is absolutely fine. It is your art. I don't think you should let anybody else tell you how to do it. A lot of times we do art and people try to tell us the right way and the wrong way. But I think if your creativity is taking you a specific way and you want to explore that, it's pretty fun. When you're working with markers and paper, especially if you're just working with like practice paper that's maybe you grabbed a piece of junk mail and you're making some lines on the back of it, that's the best time to play. Just do what you want. Try some different things with your line directions, your line thickness, how you attach your lines at the end of your shapes. Those are some different ways to play with this line work. I'm going to show you how to get this finished product that kind of looks, to me it looks like a lot of lanterns or a lot of Christmas ornaments or a lot of like maybe the like St. Peter's Cathedral, is it, in Russia, with the little architecture that kind of has the same onion feel to it. Oh, this one's kind of fun too. It's hard when I get over on these edges and I'm not sure where one ends and one begins. But that's part of the challenge, right? All right. So I'm just going up and around, up and around. Okay, let's do this one that's right next to it since we are right here. And this one's small, so these lines aren't as challenging. Some of the bigger ones are a little more challenging. One more. Okay, so now I'm going to back out and see what I have left on my virtual piece of paper. Let's do this one. We can't see the top of it, but that's okay because we can see most of it. So we know what to do, right? Let's see, are we still in your frame? I am still in your frame. There we go. So this one is just up and out, but they won't meet at the top because we can't see the peak up there. So we just have to imagine where it is. Just bringing it down. And I'm not going to fast forward this one. I'm not going to go into time lapse because I want you to see the amount of time that it can take to finish one of these. So we'll just stay in real time. I hope that you're getting the hang of this and that your mind is really enjoying making all of these curvy lines. I also hope that you're enjoying the digital tutorial. Usually I work on the same materials that my artists are working with, but sometimes when we're doing something like this that can be done on so many different types of art materials, it doesn't really matter, because all the important part is that you learn the method, not that you're necessarily working exactly on the same type of art product as me. All right, so I'm getting pretty done. This is looking good. I guess I'm what, about 3/4 of the way done. Cool. I'm just gonna keep working on this side. I'm gonna work from here and add these in. And wow, I just love making these curvy lines. Always very interesting to see how people's look different at the end too, because everybody's hand has a little bit different way of making these lines. It's kind of the way you can put your signature on this art and make it your own. All right, do I want to work on this giant one or the tiny one? I'm going to work on the giant one. And I'm going to have to do some smoothing out over here. This is a funky edge. All right, but I've got it under control, my friends. And then we don't see the whole edge of this one, so we have to imagine that it goes out further. But you're getting to kind of be an expert at this shape by now, because you have made a lot of them. So I'm not worried about it. I know that you can do it. I'm also interested to find out if you like working like how I'm going from the bottom to the top and then the top to the bottom. Or do you only like working downward, or only prefer to work upward? You might have a preference. You might like them all. No telling. And on some days you might have different preferences. Like today, I'm enjoying making the lines all the different ways, but if I sit down to do this tomorrow, maybe there's only one way that I want to go. All right, now I'll finish off this little teeny tiny one. And this is challenging because we can't see very much of it at all, right? So we know that it's probably starts here. And I'm just gonna make it up. You really have to start doing a lot of that creative problem solving when you get to the edges and you have your little shapes where the boundaries are more imaginary because they are off the paper. But I think that looks fine. And if I want, I can go, I'll put another couple of lines in the one on top just to make it seem like that really is the shape. So you can see how it gets really interesting toward the edge. It makes it look like your drawing has some depth to it. All right, let's come down here. I'm gonna work on this big one. It's got a little bit of an imaginary part too. That's okay, we can handle that. We're getting toward the end, so we're gonna have more that have that. We just have to make it up. We can pretend it gets big and floofy out there to the side. And I don't think it really matters if the number of lines up at the top match the number of lines at the bottom. All right, so then this one would go around mess up here, so I'm going to run right over it and cover it up. And now it's our secret and no one knows. The good thing about tiny mess ups on a piece of art like this is there are so many lines that your eye goes to the patterns that these lines make at the end of the art. So when you have little places where you've made an error, the eye doesn't really go there. It just makes sense of it. But that's also part of your creative decision making, is when you do make a little mistake and you're not working with something that you can erase or go back, how am I going to fix that? Am I going to be done and slap a flower over it, or am I going to make it into another shape? There's a lot of different ways that we can do that. All right, this one also does not have all of its edges, so I'm just making it up. All right, there we go. So I'm almost finished with this side. That's fun. All right, I'm gonna do this with the very last little one. And then we can go to the other side. That's exciting. We're almost done. Yay! All right. So now I need to go work on this side. And because it's easier for me, because I'm right-handed, I'm going to flip it upside down. So I need to remember that my drawing is now upside down. And let's work on this big old thing. So we can't see all the parts of it either. But that's okay. We're just going to pretend we know what's going on off of the drawing. Filling in those imaginary blanks with our imagination. Creative problem solving. Whee! All right, so up and around we go. It's kind of difficult to follow here because all my lines are very close together, but that's all right. I'm just gonna figure it out as I go and make it make sense to me. I feel like I need one more in there, one more right here. Maybe one more here. It's just so fun to add these lines. Sometimes it's hard to stop. And really, there's no reason to stop. A lot of people say less is more. I don't know about all that. Sometimes more is more. I'm having so much fun in this one. All right. I'm still remembering that my piece is upside down. So now I'm going to work on this one. Go around and down and around. And just keep going down and coming back around. Don't know if you can hear it, but I have a very snory dog in my room. I have put her to sleep with my meditative line drawing talk. I may have also put you to sleep, and that's okay. My goal is to help you relax. So if this is boring you to sleep, that is a-okay with me. Ooh, this is so much fun. All right, so that one's done. We have a little teeny tiny area over here that's needs some little lines in it. It's not super important what we do in these ending spaces. It just needs to match a little bit. Let's put a little bit more in there. All right. And I'm still remembering that my piece is upside down, even though it doesn't really super matter. Right side up versus upside down. I'm remembering because we did start in a different direction. Ooh, this one's really fun. This is like just exactly the right size. And because I don't have to end at a point, it's also easier to just smash all those lines together. These ones that don't end exactly on the page are perhaps a little less challenging. Can be a little more spontaneous at the end. And come around here. This one's larger, so let's get in there and split it up. Split up that one. Come there and split that in half. Then let's see. This is getting very small. I don't really need to be doing this, but I am anyway. All right. Oh, we are on the home stretch. I don't like this being open, so I'm going to put another line there. No, I need another one here. This is what you run into at the end when you start getting all persnickety, I guess is the word I'm looking for. Getting a little persnickety. You may be the type of person that is used to competition and finishing things quickly, or having to finish things quickly because maybe the things you do on a regular basis are bound by time. But this is one of those things that doesn't have to be bound by time. All right, I have just this little section left. This is exciting. Okay, so this one would just be its own over here. And then, let's see, I'm gonna make this line a little nicer if I can. And let me just not mess with that. I'm just gonna make my lines. It'll be fine. I don't know, this line's bothering me. There we go. Now I'm a little happier with it. So I'm up and down and up and down. And back up and down. Down and around. Let's put another piece here. Come down. I need another one here. Need one in here. How do I get there? I did it. Oh, it's kind of wonky, but I'll leave it. It's fine. Okay. I'm getting to the very bottom. This is exciting. So this one is going to end there. So this is going to be the middle line for that one. And can converge there. Again, we just make up what's going on the part of our drawing that doesn't get to fall within the boundary of our paper right now. We are just making it up. It is our business and no one else's. All right, that one's done. Ooh, 2 more sections. And I am almost done. I'm gonna do this one first because I feel like this one will be more fun, so I'm gonna leave it for last. I'm interested to know if you're the kind of person, like when you're eating, for instance, a bag of Skittles, and there are different flavors. So you have, your favorite flavors. Do you eat them first or do you save them for last? When I eat Skittles, I usually eat the yellow and the green ones first. And then the orange ones. And then I save, red and purple are my favorite, so I save those for the very last. I have a feeling some other people do it that way too. I don't do that when I'm having chips and salsa though. I go for the really big chips first. All right. Now we're down to this very last one. This is exciting. So I'm finishing it up, and then I need to remember to turn my art back right side up because I am currently working upside down. This is a little raggedy here, so I'm gonna smooth it out. Whee! All right, so now I can be done, or if I just want to keep drawing lines, because sometimes it's really fun, right? I can go back into some of my shapes from earlier and add even more lines. Okay, so I'm going to turn this the right way. So now it's the right way, and that is, whoops. Am I in the whole screen? There we go. So this is the finished product. So I'm all done. But if I want to, I kind of want to go put a few more lines in this one. I feel like I have more space. At the beginning, my lines were kind of wide, but as I got to the end, they started getting much closer together because I didn't want to stop drawing lines. And I still don't, and I don't have to, because I can come back into these and add more lines. Just depends on how much time you have and when you want to be done. Sometimes you do just want to be done, huh? Especially if something's just really frustrating. But boy, this is super relaxing and I'm enjoying it. So I'm just gonna go and go and go. And then let's see, this one needs some more lines. It doesn't have enough. This is a fun curve to draw. is. All right, I'm going to do one here, one there, and there. And I'm just going to add them until I don't feel like I can fit anymore, or I can't figure out where to start. That is also a problem sometimes with these. All right, now I can say, are there any more that need more lines? Maybe there are. So I'm going to add some more here. Just mainly going back to some of these first shapes where I didn't use quite as many lines. I just don't know if it's possible to overdo this, because I feel like the more lines you add, the more dimensional it gets. Especially if you're really enjoying this practice. If you are not, turn the video off and do something else. Do something you enjoy during art time. Life is too short to do art that you don't like, I think. All right, ooh, I can fit another one in here. All right, maybe one more right here along the edge, and then I'll be done with the lines on this one, I think. Yeah. All right, so I'm just looking for any that stand out to me that look maybe too wide. Okay, these ones, but I'm going to turn the paper, the imaginary paper for me, so I can really get in there, and I'm going the direction that my hands like to work. I think they like to work side to side a little more sometimes. They had been working the other way for quite a while, so I'm going to change it up and give my hands a little break. We'll go side to side for a bit. And if you're ever doing this and you need to take a little break and stretch your fingers, that's a great idea. Maybe you need to put your hands in the air, stretch out your shoulders. I find when I'm concentrating on drawing like this a lot, my shoulders get very tense. And I'm trying to relax shoulders. I'm not trying to get more tense. So sometimes I just need to stop and stretch. Just throw my arms in the air like I am a kitty cat. Ugh. I got a piece there that I didn't mean to. All right. Is this right side up? No, it's not. It's upside down. All right, I'm going to put a few more in this one, and then I'm going to be done. And I hope that you are just enjoying the line drawing. I know I am. Whether it's day or night where you are, lovely weather or not your favorite weather, it's always a good time to draw, I think. I'm getting really confused with my lines in here, but I don't think it matters. I think I'm just gonna make them all meet up right here. Having some complications, but this is how my creative problem solving is gonna fix it. And I think at the end it won't matter. Okay, let's put a couple more lines in here. Maybe one here. Maybe through the center. Maybe through here. Oh, I need one in here. This is a very weird angle. Let's It's not my best work on this picture, but I think this is how I know when I need to stop, when I start kind of trying to overwork things. So I think I'm gonna be, no, these need a few more. I'm gonna say I'm done at least 2 more times, right? And then I'll really be done. Ha ha ha. Okay. Let's get one more in here. Just wherever your eye goes and says there are not enough lines there, you can always add some more. Now, it's a gamble because these lines do get very close together. And you really have to stay on course with them. Not always the easiest thing to do, especially sometimes some of us take medication or we have different conditions in our body that make our hands a little shaky. So sometimes it's better to just keep less lines, but today I'm up for a challenge. This can be whatever amount of lines works just right for you. You might be done and you might be thinking, Kasey, just be done. It's okay. So I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna just be done. And I think it turned out great. It's really nice. And it definitely looks like a bunch of onions or a bunch of yarn or something. And I'm gonna go ahead and sign it, but I think I'm gonna sign it in pink. I enjoy pink, so I'm gonna sign. There we go. So always sign it so we know that it's yours. I hope you have enjoyed this, and I hope that you're finding some relaxation and that you can use this to help yourself find that relaxation in the future. Join me again for more ways to draw relaxing lines. All right, before we go, I'm going to show you something. If you don't know about this feature in Procreate, you can hit the little wrench and you can go to time-lapse replay. And it'll show you your video really, really quickly. In like, I think it's 20 or 30 seconds. So there is just a quick recap of how we did it all. It's fun to go back and see me add those extra lines and see how it kind of makes it darker. So that was a good time. All right, I'll see you next time, everyone.